So, our final presentation of the week is our keynote. And Adrienne Guillory has been a part of the UXPA family for a while. She's been helping out as a topic chair for several years, and she's been very involved in the organization, which we're grateful for. She is also the co-founder of Dallas Black UX, and currently COO of Usability Science. She's also a Texas native, so we thought, what a better way to close out our Austin, Texas conference than with one of their very own. So, yeah, absolutely. So I'm very pleased to announce our closing keynote, Adrienne.
Thank you. Oh, it's already on. Thought you were gonna like count me down or something. Okay. All right. Hi, y'all. How you doing? I was like, should I give them a good old-fashioned howdy or a yeehaw? But we're not gonna do that to you today. I even tried to figure out how to get deep in the heart of Texas in here. I just left it alone. It's okay. All right. So, I am loud. Okay. So I need to start with thanks. Okay. I owe a lot of people a lot of appreciation, gratitude. If you've seen random people hug me, I'm not famous by any means. I just grew up in this space, so I know a lot of people, okay? So I put together this word slide. One of my friends, Terrell Cobb, he's one of the co-founders of Dallas Black UX with me. He has this really swanky slide. It says, Terrell says thanks. I just took Terrell out, put Adrienne in. Adrienne says thanks, okay? So the people that I have in here are people who have grown me, have stretched me, have helped me, have told me, Adrienne, have several seats, you are doing too much. I have people in there who say, you are not doing enough, get busy, okay? So, especially in everything we do, make sure you take time and tell people, thank you. So, the big one in the middle said Jeff Schuler, okay? I can't talk about my career without talking about Jeff, right? And it's a very special relationship, one I've known him since I was in my mid-20s, okay, before my baby was here. But Jeff is the CEO of Usability Sciences. We all actually owe him a little bit of thanks because he and Janice James, who was at American Airlines at the time, started UPA, okay? For those of you who don't know, that was the organization before we were UXPA, okay? So we do need to, yeah, go ahead and clap. We're gonna clap, we can do that. We are very, very, very thankful for what they did and what the team has grown this into. One of the things I love about Jeff is that he has a special skill for hiring people or hiring researchers. None of us, really, at least the original crew, none of us were trained in research. And I know it's hard to believe, but I'm a little bit aged, okay? So we didn't have degrees, we didn't have the certifications a lot of people have now. So what he did is he hired people who had a skill set that he could train to, okay? Mine is I'm nosy. Worked out, okay? One of the people that he hired, of course, was this crazy temp, okay? I started in research as a temp receptionist. I love it because I didn't even know user research was a thing, okay? I knew that I didn't like the job I had, so I quit that and I started dating jobs for a while. That means temping, okay? And I went to Usability Sciences a couple of times and I was like, y'all are really inefficient. Like, who is running your business? But again, I'm nosy and I created a manual for them. This is what you give people who will come in as your temp. Jeff walked down the hallway and was like, you want a job? No. But yes, I will take a job. He has really poured into us. So if you know anything about Usability Sciences, you know we have a rather large alumni group. So people don't just leave, they come back as our clients, they come back as mentors, they stick around. And believe it or not, I haven't always been there. I left for a while. I was like, gotta go. I don't wanna do this anymore. So then I went and did what I call a tour of Dallas. So Sabre, AT&T, and then let's razzle-dazzle, throw in some Southwest Airlines in there, okay? Until one day he called me back and said, hey, I want to get into this design thinking thing, okay, whatever that means. I was like, okay, I could do this. I could go back. But he okey-doked me. He got me real good. The first year was hell. He had me doing things like sales. He had me understanding the marketing and the operations behind it. And I was like, I don't need to know any of this. And he was like, surprise, making you COO. But in addition to that, if you follow me, if you know me at all, you know I have a lot of extracurriculars, and Jeff entertains all of my extracurriculars, which includes Dallas Black UX. I didn't even work at the company. He hosted my first meeting. He gives me time off to do things like this. Like, I literally just finished this thing this morning, but I started working on it last week. He gave me time for that. And then I also teach at UTA, and y'all, he lets me leave in the middle of the day to go teach classes, and then I come back to work. It's awesome, okay? So I can't tell that story. You're right. Now, for our talk today, a couple things. So I know some people are like, oh, God, I hope she doesn't take the whole hour because I got to go. Okay, cool, no problem. I'm going to get this done in 45 minutes, okay? But I can tell you what you should expect. One, there was not enough Texas in this thing for me. Okay? All right? Now, I know some people were apprehensive about coming, and I get it. But listen, we didn't have not the Lone Star. We didn't have any of the things. So I made sure that you get your little dose before you leave, okay? Y'all, I cuss a lot. I hear it's a sign of intelligence, but I'm going to try real hard not to do that to y'all today. When I present, especially on this particular topic, and because it's you, I'm going to say things that aren't necessarily always the nicest, but I mean it, I'm sincere, and I'm doing it in a loving way. So I might sound like the cool auntie or the big sister, okay? I'm honest to a fault. I enjoy it. Other people don't think it's so cute. And then when we're done, I want to make sure that you have an outline so that when you go back out into the world, you feel empowered, okay? Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, it is not just hot in Texas, okay? As a matter of fact, the weather that we've had this week is disrespectful to me because we're in Austin, right? It should not feel like Houston, but it did. And I feel fine blaming the people from Phoenix, anybody who came in from the desert. This is your fault. This is not our weather, okay? But a couple of things, so when you go back and you need to come up with things about Texas, make sure you include some of these, okay? The one I love in the middle is the first frozen margarita. Y'all can thank Dallas, Texas for that. Okay, by way of 7-Eleven, which I thought was fun, okay? Just in case you didn't know, the Texas state capitol is bigger than the United States Capitol. Say what you will, but we do it big in Texas, okay? And then some other things that, you know, just be fun to know. Now, I'm Adrienne. See, I told y'all, as many Texas references as I can get in there, okay? I am a mother to a 14-year-old son who, even in my heels, can put his chin on my head. I hate it. His voice is getting deep, and he has hair on his chin. It's stupid. Not enjoying this at all. And then I have my fur tank, Nairo, my tank who runs into everything full speed. Okay. By day, I run Usability Sciences. It is a small user research firm. All we do is research. We respect the difference between research and design. I manage a team of researchers. I also manage our in-house recruiting team, okay? They are the best, and I say it with pride on my chest, okay? And then in my free time, whatever that is, I teach an upper level and a lower level course at UT Arlington. I have never heard it so many times this week, but apparently it's a very controversial subject, design thinking. I also co-founded and lead Dallas Black UX, which is an organization that we created to make sure that people of color had a place to learn and grow and have conversations. We do field trips, we do mentors, we do mock projects, all of those things to make people feel included. And then if you follow me on LinkedIn, I don't know how I have time, but I also put a lot of content out on LinkedIn, specifically jobs and how to make people better, and random rants about how product managers should not be doing research. Said lovingly, okay? I'm also the boy's taxi, because he can do everything else on his own. The cash machine. My mom's 24-hour tech support, okay? And then an event planner. I promised the fiance that I'll plan my wedding after this, so he's waiting on y'all to be over. Okay, now, why am I here? One, to Sarah's point, y'all needed a Texan on this stage. We could not just not let you come here and not, get this Southern hospitality. Two, the one I forgot, I guess, is I also do career coaching, okay? So I talk to a lot of UXers about things that they're struggling with. So I get all the complaints. I also mentor leadership in all the various aspects. So I get their complaints. So what you're going to get from me is that conversation from both sides. One of the things that I take personally is sometimes you get tired, okay? And you need somebody who's going to love on you. And I want to do that for us today. And then, y'all, I got to toughen you up a little bit, because listen, okay, it's about to get real hard out here in these streets. And I need to make sure you're ready. And then, honestly, y'all, I'm a recovering control freak. I say recovering, my team is giggling like, no, she's still bad. But I'm going to pass on some things that I've had to learn, so hopefully it'll be useful to you, okay? And then I'm a huge fan of UXers. I don't know if you noticed, some of my extracurriculars are all about UX professionals and growing and building you, and this is my opportunity to give back to you personally. So when I talk about UXers, I think about it as in you have a superpower, right? I'm probably not the first person to tell you that, but let me tell you what I think your superpower is. So content specialists can take the words of somebody else and use it to make it powerful for somebody else, right? So they take on the tone of their company. They take on the tone of a design team. And then they use that power to convince you to do something, okay? Next, my designers. Y'all have a talent I don't have. You can make something, you can see something, you can design something that wasn't there before. A lot of people can't start with nothing and then come up with something amazing, and that's not to be discounted at all. Developers, and if y'all don't count developers as UXers, you need your hand slapped, okay? Developers, we need them to believe they're UXers because they have to make the things that we build. Product owners, y'all do the mixing of the people, you tell the story, you get us funding, thank you, we appreciate you. And then user researchers, I'm biased, but I kind of feel like y'all couldn't do any of this without us, okay? Now, I have to give a disclaimer. So Jeff was like, don't F it up, don't get me in trouble. So here's my disclaimer. So the things I'm going to say to you is going to be based off my own experiences and the experiences of people that I've talked to get ready for this, okay? If you hate something I say, please don't take it out on my company or any of my other employers. I'd appreciate it, okay? Now let's talk about research, state of UX in general, okay? So a lot of the conversations that I'm having with people go a little bit like this. How do I find a job? Everybody's losing their job. Are we still gonna have jobs? Okay. Then my personal favorite right now is ChatGPT gonna replace us? Should we be worried? Okay. And then this one cracks me up because y'all, for like 40 years, we still haven't got this right. Will they ever get it? No. And we don't want them to because as long as they don't, we have jobs. Okay. Now, I am sure in your life, because it definitely has been in mine, life has been lifing, okay? Things keep happening to us, around us, sometimes for us, whatever. But it's a lot going on. And then if you watch or read the news, you're probably sitting there like, I didn't say it. I thought it. Winter is counting. But this is probably what you think in most days. Because y'all, what the hell? Oh, damn. Okay. Right? People are losing their jobs, right? People are just stressed out. People are sad. People are going through a lot, okay? We are, at least for the last, I don't even know, I stopped counting. We're usually somewhere between, this cannot be real life, and, going to hell in a handbasket, it's over, okay? Now, if you're having those feelings, especially when I do counseling sessions, let's start here. Listen, you didn't make that up, okay? There is a lot going on. I don't know if I can use this word, so hit my hand later if it's wrong. You're not crazy. You didn't make it up. It's not a figment of your imagination. It's really tough out here. And I think it would be irresponsible for me to get on this stage and tell you our profession is just doing great. We're not doing great, okay? Because the rest of the world is not doing great. If you are feeling anxious, depression, I heard a couple of people bring up imposter syndrome this week, survivor's guilt because half your team got laid off and you show up to work every day. That's hard, okay? If you don't know where to start, because Jesus, it's so much. It's weird. I don't even know where I'm supposed to start. I don't even know. You can't say no. That's my problem. But then this other one, y'all, is something that I heard. So if you don't know, I've been walking around, y'all, this whole week eavesdropping on conversations. And this last one really hurt my heart. People feeling like they haven't done enough. They haven't gotten far enough. They're not doing what they need to do. They feel like they got left behind. I'm sorry that you feel that way, okay? But part of that is because your focus is in the wrong place. Your feelings are genuine. They are real. But let me tell you, I can say this, and I mean it. We will be fine, okay? User research will be fine. UX will be fine. You will be fine. Y'all see it? The rodeo? Yeah. Us Texas is sport, just in case you didn't know, okay? I promise you'll be fine. And how do I know this? So, I think I'll do this. If you started working in user research or usability before 1998, raise your hand. Y'all see it? Okay? These people made it through the dot-com bubble. If you started working in research before 2008, raise your hand. They made it through the Great Recession. If you worked in research and you used Moray or T-Logger or took notes in Word, raise your hand. We made it through unmoderated testing platforms. Y'all remember that? We were terrified. We were like, oh my God, they're gonna do unmoderated? They won't need us anymore. We won't have jobs. Who here still has a job? Okay, we just learned to use it, right? And then if you started working in user research before 2020, raise your hand. You still have a job. We made it through a global pandemic. Okay? Now, I think everybody should take a second and let's celebrate that. Let's celebrate that. We made it. Now, I tried to, choose some really good celebrations. If you just want the balloons, some people want to drink. Baby, I go to sleep. Okay, now, where we are today is not new. It did not come out of nowhere. And I'm going to say some things that you may not love, but it's the truth about the situation. One, y'all, this thing happened, I don't know if you heard it, digital transformation. That's when our employers realized, people do stuff online. Who knew? Okay? And then because of that, because of the pandemic, there was this huge spike in work, right? Things that didn't have to be online before actually now need to go online, okay? People who had garbage experiences, and I say that not lovingly, had to fix it, okay? Then, because nobody could go anywhere because you were all at the house, some of those budgets got moved into UX, got moved into research, right? And then some of y'all went in on these salaries, okay? I mean, there's individual contributors in here making more than me, and I run a company. So, you did good. I'm proud of you. However, that was not sustainable, all right? So where we are today is there's now this uncertainty because of economics. There's this uncertainty because politics is politicking, okay? And they have an opportunity to right-size this thing, okay? Some of y'all, I won't point, and you don't have to acknowledge it or raise your hand, but some of y'all had like 2, 3 jobs. I don't know how you did that, okay? Some of y'all did that. Some of y'all weren't really doing all the, it was some things happening, and they're gonna right-size that, okay? Now, one of the things that we're always talking about is jobs. Y'all, there's not been a decrease in jobs. A lot of people got laid off, but there are a lot of jobs being posted. I know because me and some of my friends are constantly posting them. But they're gonna look different, okay? Some of these salaries are going down, okay? You're an individual contributor living in Odessa, Texas, making $180,000 a year. Listen, that's going down, okay? That's what it is. I know, this next one sucks. A lot of y'all going back to work. A lot of y'all going back to the office, okay? It's not ideal. A lot of the jobs that we've seen being posted lately no longer have a hybrid option, right? They want you in the office. And then lastly, we have a bunch of tools and stuff. I know because you bought them. We thank you. We appreciate it. You have a bunch of tools. Now they expect you to be more strategic with them. We are not doing business as usual. So everybody here agree with me so far? Our space has changed, okay? We gonna come out on the other side. We'll be fine. Everybody agree with me so far? Everybody believe it? Okay, now great. Now, we're strategy people, so how are we gonna get there? So, I tried to, take out some of the stuff so that, people don't feel some kind of way, right? So I cleaned it up a little bit. If you know what goes first, whatever. But I told you I'm a recovering control freak. So this is something I have to say to myself on a constant basis, right? Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. That means some of this stuff is not for me, okay? Courage to change the things I can. Sometimes I'm gonna have to be uncomfortable because it is for me. And then y'all, this last one, wisdom to know the difference. We can't pick a fight with everybody, okay? Now, for those of you who are like, Adrienne, I don't want that because I know what you took out the beginning, there's a translation. We can't control what we can't control, but you can control how and if you respond to it. The only thing in this entire situation that you can realistically control is you. So that's why I spend most of my time counseling and mentoring people. So let's talk about you. Y'all ready? Everybody ready? So we keep talking about people losing their jobs. If you got that call today, would you be ready? If they called and said, hey, we're going to let y'all go. If they say, hey, we're going to reorg you. Hey, we need you to come back to the office. And you say, no, you no longer work here. Are you ready? Yes? No? Nobody wants to answer that. Because you know the answer. Heck no. Okay? So let's talk about how we get ready for that. Now, please, 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 please do not think that this advice is specific to right now. Because you saw all the people who have been here through all the different crises. Okay? This isn't going to be our last rodeo. We're going to keep going through changes. You'll always go through changes. So these things I need you to keep in mind for the long term. Okay? Now, 1, periodically update your resume and your portfolio. Who here has updated their portfolio in the last 6 months? Yup. Yeah. Okay. Now let me tell you what the problem is if you don't do that. You're going to see an amazing job, right? Like Beyonce level job, right? And if you didn't update your stuff, now you have to take time to get ready. And Beyonce's not waiting for you. Okay? So I tell people to do it once a year. I would actually prefer you do it sometimes twice a year. And if you're pumping out a lot of work, I want you to do it quarterly. Okay? And what I want you to do is make sure you're updating it so that it is clear what you do now and the experiences that you've learned along the way. Okay? So your portfolio should not have things from like 1998. Okay? Next, I want you to give back. Now, most of the things that you saw on that slide I do not get a check for. I don't get paid for all of that. I didn't get paid for any of the stuff for UXPA, nor do most of the volunteers and a lot of people who work here, but we show up anyway. And there's a reason for that, okay? So one thing that happens when you connect with other people and you give back is you realize the things that you're going through are not just you, okay? For some reason, it sucks a little less when you know other people are struggling too, okay? Next, when you're having these conversations and you're opening yourself up, sometimes you see things that you didn't see if it was just you, okay? It's a really good way to just kind of gut check, right? See the world from a different perspective, even if it's for a little while, okay? And then what I tell my team is you feel really smart when you talk to people who don't know as much as you, and it's like a really good confidence boost. Next, I would not be a mom if I didn't put in this last part. Y'all, I know you out here making big money, but make sure you're doing something smart with that money, okay? Put it up, put it back, because I want you to be in a position to go and take that Beyonce level job, right? I want you to be in a position to walk away from things that don't serve you. I want you to be in a position to not have to make decisions out of desperation, because if you don't get that paycheck, you're stuck. And I know that's not my business, but I told y'all before I got started I was going to get all in your business, so don't feel any kind of way about that, okay? So main takeaway from that in general is just stay ready so you don't have to get ready, okay? Everybody's good on that one? Okay, so we're going to update our resumes and our portfolios. How often? Every 6 months? I heard 6 months. I heard a year. So we got it, right? Okay. I love quarterly. Let's do quarterly. I love quarterly. Okay? Next question. Are you the cog or the wheel? Okay? I feel like a lot of times when we are in these situations, we feel like things are happening to us and we don't have any control or say in the situation. And if we go back to that list that you're feeling anxious, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling angry, you're feeling all of these things because you feel like these things are happening to you. So, let's talk about that. I want everybody to invest in themselves. Okay? You are your star player. So, some of the things that I want you to do are some of the things that we talked about here at the conference. One, I want you to refine the skills you're supposed to have, because everybody doesn't have them. I was nice here, I was generous. But make sure you refine the skills that you're supposed to have. Working with stakeholders, okay? Sat in on a couple of talks this week, especially the one at Discover. You don't make strides like that unless you understand your stakeholders, okay? And I know, I'm such an introvert. I don't want to talk to people. Well, listen, if you want to make it, you better, okay? Next, learn to communicate the value and impact of your work, okay? Because nobody else is going to do that for you. So if, when we get back to this whole budget conversation, they can take this organization where they can see the value and they have yours and you can't put two and two together, then who do you think they're going to choose? So I know sometimes you don't want to, but pat yourself on the back and do it loudly. Next, I want you to make sure that you're socializing and evangelizing research. Y'all, nobody is coming for you. They're not. So going back to that slide, when will they ever get it? They don't have to, you do. So you need to make sure that you're the one who is standing up for research in your organization. Okay? And then, okay, this pet peeve. Y'all make sure you're doing good research. Yeah, come on, good research. I know that's nobody in this room, but there are some researchers out here making us look bad. Okay? Good research. So, we're going to educate our stakeholders. We're going to tell them what to expect from the research that they're asking for. We're going to inform them when they're making mistakes. We're not going to be the ones cutting corners. That can't be us. Because if we're telling them that this is good research, they won't know what bad research is, and then what? So make sure you do that. Next, learn your business. I was chatting with one of my DBUX sponsors, Becky Sherman. She's over at American Airlines. And they have an amazing setup. They're actually ingrained user research, UX and design in their real development process. Like, this is like the real thing, okay? But as to how you get there. So she needs to be able to have non-UX conversations. She needs to be able to talk about the business and where they're going. She needs to be able to understand and translate their KPIs. If you can't do that, then you're setting yourself up. So learn your business. Learn the subtext. I heard somebody talking about that earlier. Like, they're always saying things, I don't know what it means. Go find out. Okay? Make sure you understand what's happening. And then understand their strategy. So, the reason I need you to understand their strategy is you need to be able to tell them where you fit into it. Okay? Now, set lovingly. All of us don't need to stay UX researchers. Okay? Now, I know you love this job. I know you love it so much, right? You love interviewing people and writing reports and coming up with that quick summary in 90 minutes before this debrief. I know you love it. I know you love it. But some of us are made for bigger. Some of us should be going into positions that now are made to complement research, okay? My favorite is product manager, product owner. If I could embed one of you into all of those teams, we would take over the world, okay? So I want you to learn some other skills. Tools like ChatGPT. We're not gonna be scared of it, we're gonna learn how to use it, right? Don't put your clients or your customers' information into it. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. But we need to learn how to use it. If for no other reason, we need to know what it doesn't do so we can communicate that. We need to look at topics that will stretch you, grow you to your next level, okay? So what are you going to be doing in a few years, right? Some of you don't want to go back to the office. Okay, so then what are some jobs you can have so you can stay home, right? And what are the skill sets that you need to be able to do that? And then make sure that you learn jobs around you. So I know a whole lot of designers, not because I had any interest in design. I went and joined AIGA. Y'all familiar with AIGA? I wanted to understand what they were talking about, because those designers, they just, baby, what? I don't even know what that means, right? But to be able to understand them and talk to them and be able to write my findings for them, I had to go learn them. So, understand what your developers do. Understand that their motivations are different than yours, okay? Understand the words and the language that they hear. Understand what their benefits are. Understand their motivating factors. Does any of this sound familiar yet? Use your skill set to do and to make strides and build these relationships. Okay. So, quick story. Do I want to say it like that? Yeah, I'll say it like that. Okay, a couple of years, I took a job, and almost immediately, I was like, oh, I can't stay here. This isn't it. This is not going to be the place for me, okay? Not because it was a bad place, but I was concerned. I had been a consultant doing 2 or 3 projects a month, and now you want me to do 2 or 3 every 8 months? Like, the space will pass me by. I'm not gonna be able to stay here. But what happened is I realized I need to be able to do something. This sounds arrogant, I'm sorry. I need to be able to go on LinkedIn and say, I need a job and get one. That was the goal. And if you follow me, you will notice that there was a sudden spike in my LinkedIn activity, okay? If there was a thing to get done, I did it. I spoke everywhere. I volunteered for everything, okay? I wrote, I did podcasts, I did all of that. So now I have a name, okay? My research team, they will tell you, we work on their brand. Because one day, you're gonna need to leave me, and I need you to have a platform to do it. Okay, so it's not always comfortable, but we build brands, okay? Now, I want you to make sure that you pay real close attention to how I say this. Dedicate time to building your brand, right? So social media will get the best of you. If you think you have to do it all the time, if you're always trying to stay up, I don't want you to do that. I have a colleague here, she says she posts 2 days a week. It's on her calendar, it's what she does. They have really cool features where you can schedule things ahead of time so you can push all your content out at one time and then just let the system run. You're spoiled because I didn't have that. But you can do that, okay? But build your brand. Look for meaningful content. So if you watch my page, it's jobs. It's how to make people better. It's how to grow. It's how to have conversations, okay? Look at things like, look for leadership positions, especially if you're volunteering, right? I'm not, UXPA. Look for opportunities like that. Speak at conferences, local meetings, okay? And then be a mentor. These are things you can do to build your brand. So this last one is around just you as your person. So there are times when I have to disconnect. I don't know, because I'm busy. Disconnect. And I want you to make sure that you take time to live your life. So for my company, every Monday morning, we have a conversation. When I teach my classes, the first day of every week, here's the conversation. What have you done since the last time I saw you? The only answer that is not acceptable is work, okay? I want you to go out and I want you to live your life. I want you to have hobbies. I do not want work to be the most important thing in your life. Because if somebody calls you today and tells you you no longer have a job, now what? Okay? At least if you have some hobbies, you could go game for a couple of hours until you could process it. Okay? Make healthy life choices. So when I was at Sabre, y'all, no crap, I was working like 80 hours a week. I think I realized sometime in there I had gained like 60 pounds. I was eating horribly. I felt horrible. My son was telling people that we didn't hang out, that all mommy did was play on her computer. Like, life was bad. My son was judging me. But that responsibility is mine, okay? That responsibility is yours. Make sure you take care of yourself. Build meaningful conversations. So if you came in, you saw all the people that I got to hug before I got started, right? That's because in the midst of working, we're gonna have conversations. I wanna know you as a person. In all the time that I've worked, I've not legitimately applied for a job 16 years, okay? And that's because people know me, they know my work, they can look at all the things. They can say, you know what, she had bad days, but she didn't cuss me out often. She was super happy in the morning, They know me because I took time to just build relationships. And honestly, that wasn't for, I hope you give me a job one day, because how do you know that? But that's because work sucks less when you have people that you like around you, okay? Look for ways to relieve your stress. I know the talk that we had on Tuesday, some people were like, okay, this is kind of cool. Some people were like, I don't know about that. But she had a good point. You have to understand that you are stressed out. You are tired. And you need to make sure that you are relieving that stress and doing something with it so that you don't burn yourself out. We need to make sure that we have things to look forward to in your life, work. That release is probably not going to do it, okay? That digital release is not going to do it. Make sure you have things that you're aspiring to. One of my researchers, he goes camping, and listen, his face lights up pure joy when he is going camping, and I love that for him, okay? And then, you need to take off work. And then make sure that you disconnect periodically. That's okay. I promise you that the world is not going to stop because you didn't log into LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook. I promise you it won't. Okay, they may not even notice. Now, one of the things that I think we often do is we get caught up in, I have to get this work done. I have to get this work done. I have this report that's due. I have all these things that are due. But when was the last time you thought about you and where you're going? When was the last time you thought about a strategy for your life? So when I was at AT&T on the design team, my VP was psycho. She was crazy. I love her. She'd say things like, we need big, bodacious ideas. It's telecom, baby. Like, how big am I going to get? Okay? But I like the idea. So here's how I want you to think about it. And I put these in order on purpose. When you take notes, don't change my order. Where do you want to be personally? Where do you want to be? Okay? So I can tell you what I'm looking for, right? So my dream is to I'm going to go get married and ride off into the sunset. I'm going to live in the middle of nowhere, and hopefully nobody will bother me. This is what I aspire to have. That may not be your vision, okay? Next. Where do you want to be professionally? So for those of us, or those of you, because I'm not aiming too high much longer, y'all, I'm tired. For those of you who have aspirations, make sure you write them down. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And if you don't know yet, then you need to start the path to figure that out. But you cannot just take it day by day. Next, where do you want to be financially? Okay. How many people got into UX because they heard you make a lot of money? Raise your hand. Go ahead and tell the truth. One person's going to be honest with me? Okay, I see more hands. Thank you. Because when I do mentoring sessions, I'm like, why UX? Because y'all make a lot of money? Girl, stop. Okay. It takes time. Okay. Where do you want to be financially? And is this going to get you there? Okay. And then what will it take to get you where you want to go? You have to plan those things. We cannot wait for that career ladder at work to tell you what your next job is going to be or give you permission to take on a managerial position. That's not how that works. We can't wait for your employer to tell you what classes you're going to take and what certifications you're going to get. That's not how that works. Okay? Now, for some of you who are like, actually, that's exactly how that works. Yeah, but then you're only limited to what they want you to know and what they want you to do. That may not work with your plan. Okay, yeah. Okay, now, define your why. So we're researchers, right? That's our favorite word. Why? But why? But why? Right? Because this is our motivating factor. What's yours? And that needs to be top of mind because this is how we need to make decisions, okay? So yeah, money is cool. That's great. You know, we're not upset about it, right? But that's not sustainable, right? Because as long as inflation keeps going up, y'all, that just mean a whole lot. Side note, my son calls it inflammation. It drives me crazy. But yeah, inflation, okay? I talk to people and they're like, oh yeah, I wanted to get into UX because I want to make an impact. Since you're not making anything, we can't guarantee that's going to happen, okay? As a researcher, oh y'all, it was so funny. I think my first UXPA conference, I'm sitting here and I'm all brand new, I'm a baby. And this lady gets on stage and she says, everybody in this room is a masochist. What? that is how she started. And we were like, whoa, what is happening, right? But hey, listen, we do this work and we do it for no thank yous. We do this work and we may or not ever see impact. I mean, how many screens have you designed that have never seen the light of day? Okay? That is frustrating. Everybody in this room has not seen their thing come to life. So impact can't be it. Okay? So outside of those two things, right? Why do you do this? What about this thing is going to make you happy? Those are the things that you're going to have to hold on to, because when this thing gets rough, when you have bad days, when you have that participant who won't give you that thought for anything, that client who keeps changing requirements, you're like, bro, listen, we wrote this down. Like, when you have that, you're going to have to lean on your why. Okay? So if you want to know why I still do research, a couple of reasons. One, I'm nosy. I love research because I'm nosy. Two, I'm bossy, and I like telling people what to do. As long as I get to do those two things, I'm good. Okay? Now, who here has heard of a personal board? Who here has a personal board? Okay. Now, a board is this. We need people in your lives who love you enough to say, baby, sit down. Or, that's a really good idea, let's go with it. Or, have you thought about XYZ? Or, hey, I want you to come try this thing with me. I need you to go to this meeting with me. I need you to go do this thing with me. Okay? Somebody who is going to say, hey, you're not quite where you need to be yet, but I'm going to help you get there. Right? Everybody needs a board. The people on your board should be specific. You should talk to them about something intentionally. Everybody is not going to speak to every aspect of you. Okay? So, some people that I have on my board, and they're not nice people, I just want you to know. Some of them are how to grow me professionally. I have one person who checks in daily just to make sure I said no at least 5 times. I have people who think about where I want to go in the future, okay? So these are the type of people I have on my board. You want to make sure that you're intentional. Don't call people and be like, hey, you want to be on my board? Put some effort into that, okay? That way they know what type of feedback to give you. And then be intentional about meeting with them. I would suggest you break it up. I'm not going to meet with all 4 people every 4 weeks. 1, we don't have that kind of time. And then 2, I may need them for different things. So be intentional and then schedule it out. But then also make sure you have something to give them in return. I love this one. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Okay? So, what this looks like is doing things that you would not ordinarily do, right? I drive my fiance insane because I do things like, I wonder where that path goes. I wonder what happens if I just go down this street, right? And I'm going to follow her through because really, y'all, I'm really that nosy. Like, it's almost dangerous how nosy I am, okay? Other examples of being uncomfortable is one of the things that I hate the most. Y'all ready? Public speaking. Hate it with a passion. I get nervous. I can't breathe until I get on the stage. I don't eat anything, right? I was really considering taking a shot before I got up here, but I was like, I don't want to mess that up. So, but this is something that I have to do to carry out the vision that I have for my life and what I want for you. So, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Here's a hint. If it makes you a little bit nervous or scares you a little bit, makes you want to throw up, try it. Okay? Now, the last one. Oh, yeah, I did good. See, I told you I was going to get you out of here. Okay, the last one. How do you define empathy? Anybody got an answer? Huh? Listening and caring. Okay? So here's the one I teach my students. It is, empathy is caring enough about that person or that problem to fix it. That's a high bar. So if you're doing design thinking, if you're designing an experience for somebody, And when you go to test it out, you didn't solve a problem, baby, you failed. Because that's our bar. Unfortunately, we don't use that all the time when we're thinking about everybody. We use it for our users, but do you use it for your team? Do you use it for yourself? Okay? So, I said we're going to be kind, right? We're going to love people, right? And we're going to keep some things in mind. We work with people all the time, and some days you have bad days, right? For me personally, I know my attitude is trash between 8 a.m. and 9 o'clock because my son did something, y'all, to piss me off that morning. Did something, right? Just staring into space. Baby, come on, we gotta go, okay? However, when they see me in the morning, good morning, how you doing? Because that's not their problem, right? And I'm not gonna come and dump my crap on them because I don't know what they had going on that day. They might have had just as bad of a morning, okay? I always keep in mind when I'm dealing with anybody, but try to be kind, say nice things because yours may be the only one they got, especially now that people are at home and you don't know what these people are doing at home, right? You don't know. So be nice to people. If somebody says something to you that's a little bit off color, seems mean, right? Let's not assume malicious intent. Maybe they just need a cup of coffee or a nap, right? Maybe it was a misunderstanding, right? Don't assume that it's all bad or they're trying to do something to hurt you. This next one has been kind of pricking my heart a little bit lately, and that is don't assume that you get another chance, okay? You may not get a time to fix it later. You may not get a time to come back and say, oh, I'm sorry. We don't always know that. And then lastly, and something that I've had to learn time and time and time again over the last year, is be good to your team because you might need them. Next. Y'all like, I'm not gonna be nice to no boss? Be nice to your boss, okay? Your manager, your supervisor, the person. Go ahead, you can clap, yes, if you need that, yes. Okay? Be nice to them. I know sometimes we like to think that they are in control. They're not, okay? They get bad news like you get bad news. The only difference is now I have to be worried about my 20 and what I'm gonna tell them and how I'm gonna make sure that they're taken care of. Can I grow you? Can I make sure that you have a good work environment? Listen, like, how do I tell you that we may not have jobs next week? Okay? Be nice to your boss. One other thing is reach out to them, say something kind to them, because being a manager is sometimes very isolating. Because like I said, you know things that you can't tell other people, and you don't want it to slip out. Or you don't want to put your burdens on somebody else. So everybody, okay, everybody nod your head. Yes, we're going to be nice to our bosses and say nice things to them. Yes? Okay, cool. All right. Next, be nice to your ecosystem. And I'm going to say ecosystem, this is everybody else, right? These are not the people that you work with, live with. These are all the people who kind of actors in your play. The reason why I say this one is because I've had a few crazy instances in this last year that were like, these people are rude. But one, so if I were to post a job today for my little bitty company, right, because there are so many people looking for work, I might get 100 resumes today. Today. Okay? So that means these recruiters at these big companies are getting 200 or 300 a day. And I know you as the person applying for jobs are like, hey, I need a job yesterday. So now you want to be mad because this person isn't moving fast enough. Y'all, they getting it too. It's just as bad for them, okay? Next, hiring managers. Y'all, listen, that's a lot of conversations, okay? You have to go through resumes. You have to schedule those things out. You have to spend time. You probably had to fight for that position. It's a lot of work. Again, they don't move as fast as you. So, and I'm gonna just say this, right, because I've had more examples than I should even have. Stop sending these people messages telling they owe you an interview or owe you a job. Stop that. Don't do that, right? Anybody that you may meet potentially, right? So people that you meet here, right? I guarantee you somebody here met some people like, oh, you know what, I would want to talk to them after, okay? But when you reach out to them, y'all, they have lives. They don't owe you anything, okay? So don't send people messages and be in their LinkedIn like, you said you were going to help me, so let's do this now. Don't do that. And y'all are like, that doesn't happen. Okay? Then this last one, and this is something that I've taken with me always and forever, and I hope you do too. Right? So it's real easy sometimes to just kind of flip it with people that you don't think are important. Right? So I'm from the South. So if I'm walking through and let's say there's a maid or a waitress or somebody and I don't speak, like a genuine, hey, how you doing? Deborah Guillory would pop out of nowhere and beat the hell out of me. Okay? I know it for a fact. I say, yes, ma'am. I say, no, ma'am. I say, yes, sir, no, sir. I'm kind to everybody. Okay? Because the second that you're not, somebody's going to see you acting a fool, and that's what they tell people about you. Okay? There are some people who don't get jobs because you acted an ass. Okay? And somebody called and was like, what do you know about the person? Sorry, Winter, this happened. They call somebody and they're like, yeah, no, they're not easy to work with. They're not polite. They don't do their part. That's the story that they're going to tell people. Okay? Now, be nice to yourself. Everybody got that part? We always want to put ourselves behind work, our family, other obligations, right? But, like I said, what I've had to learn is you can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself. So, some things that I heard while I was eavesdropping on y'all. Y'all so honest. Y'all just meeting strangers and telling them all your business. But, okay, some things I heard. Okay, just to be clear so that everybody's on the same page. Okay? You are only competing with you. That's it. I don't compete with nobody, listen, because you don't know my life, you don't know my struggle. So, only person that I have to be better than day in and day out is me yesterday. That's it. Now, if I was up here still making, mistakes that I was making in my 20s, dear God, we would be in trouble, right? But that's the only person you have to be concerned about. So stop looking at what everybody else is doing. It's not healthy because you don't know what they're putting into it. You don't know what help they have or what help they don't have. And guess what? I know we're in the same position today, but we're not going the same places. So if you're worried about what they're doing, that's energy you should be using for yourself. Stop looking at everybody else. As I mentioned before, life keeps lifing. Well, if you thought you caught up, you're like, oh, I'm okay, I think I'm okay. And it's no, you're not. You're not okay. Where the hell did that come from, right? You have to understand, be patient with yourself. That's not your fault. Things happen. How you recover from it is absolutely your fault. But if you're tired, just be tired. If you need a moment, take a moment. Because sometimes we want to be our own worst enemy. Well, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. If you don't have it, you don't have it. And I'd rather you take a break than we see something crazy happen to you. I'd rather you take a break than you fall out. I'd rather you take a break before you go batshit crazy and cuss out everybody on the floor. I'd rather you go ahead and take a break. Okay? What else? Oh, yeah. And then stop giving yourself negative ideas. Right? So I was talking to somebody earlier, and we were talking about some things that she could be doing in her career, and before we got into it, she was like, oh, no, they're not going to do that. Why not? Why? Oh, well, okay, I guess I could see it. But if you tell yourself no without exploring it, without asking the questions, same thing that we tell people in design thinking, right? If you cut it off before you even had time to process the idea, you probably just lost a really good idea. Right? So, I got through this real fast, I think. Okay, I don't know how long I've been talking. Do y'all know? I don't know either. Okay, now, I told y'all life has been lifing, okay? I think I'm gonna make it. I think I'm gonna make it without crying. Now, last year, 2022, y'all wore me out, okay? So, January, I got a call that one of my best friends had passed away. Done, okay? That's actually a picture of she and I at a UXPA a few years ago. And then, on November 8th, at 6 a.m., I got a call that said my father, who had been in a coma for 3 weeks, passed away. 4 hours later, I got a call that my grandmother, in a totally different facility, also passed away. Okay? Now, y'all remember that slide I showed you where I'm the CEO of a company and I have researchers, I have a recruiting team, I have Dallas Black UX, I have a son, I teach, I have all of these things happening. What the hell you think happens to me when I got those phone calls? I'll tell you what happened. I got people. I got a team of researchers. I got my right hand, I got my left hand. And all I had to say is, y'all, I don't have it. I'm not okay. And they handle business. Everybody can't say that. Because you didn't do or have not yet done some of the things that we've talked about. Okay? Life is going to keep happening. And if you don't start to build, invest in yourself, if you don't start to make connections, if you don't start to give up some of this need or desire to control everything, if you don't start thinking about other options, you may not get the chance. Okay? So, we have no idea. We have no idea what's going to happen in this world. We don't know. We don't know how much time we have. We don't know who's going to be here. We don't know what they're going to have, right? We don't know what people are going to do with all this crazy technology. We have no idea. But if you focus on you, you empathize with others. Again, what did I say my definition of empathy is? Caring enough to fix it. Okay? You empathize for others. I promise you our profession will be fine, and you will be fine. All right, that's it. And I did it without crying. Go me. All right. Does anybody have any questions? I know I didn't want to keep you too long. People got places to be and drinks to get. Any questions? You are more than welcome to send me messages on LinkedIn if you have questions. If you need somebody to talk to, you ready to flip over tables or cuss everybody out, right? Feel free to hit me up. We'll talk about it, okay? If I can't help you, we'll find somebody else who can. All right? Thank you.